Welcome to Dolphin Dive Daily, your go-to spot for everything Miami Dolphins. If you bleed aqua and orange, hit that subscribe button and join the pod. The football world is buzzing with excitement and a fair dose of speculation after the sensational announcement that Griffin is joining the Miami Dolphins, a move that has immediately sent shockwaves through the NFL community and left fans on the edge of their seats, waiting to see how this star athlete will impact one of the most scrutinized defenses in the league, with insiders whispering that this could be the beginning of a new era for the Dolphins and a strategic masterstroke by their management, who have been aggressively pursuing talent to revamp the roster. But while some analysts are praising the decision as visionary, others are cautiously skeptical, wondering if Griffin can truly adapt to the unique pressures of the Miami defense, which has been historically inconsistent and prone to high-profile collapses in critical games. And this uncertainty only adds fuel to the ongoing rumors circulating online, where fan forums and sports channels are dissecting every detail of the signing, from contract figures to potential position shifts, with speculation that Griffin's speed, agility, and uncanny ability to read offenses could literally redefine the Dolphins' defensive strategy in ways that we have yet to fully appreciate. Sources close to the team have been hinting at Griffin's transformative potential, emphasizing that his presence could fundamentally alter not just the tactical approach of the Dolphins' defensive unit, but also the psychological mindset of the entire team, creating a ripple effect that may push veteran players to elevate their performances and younger talents to embrace new responsibilities. And there is a growing sense among insiders that Griffin's signing is not just a reactionary move, but a calculated gamble designed to address deep-seated weaknesses in pass coverage, blitz execution, and defensive communication, which have plagued Miami in recent seasons. Yet the rumors suggest that beyond his on-field abilities, Griffin is also expected to serve as an informal mentor and motivator, someone who can challenge the locker room culture, inspire confidence under pressure, and instill an aggressive, winning mentality, while critics argue that relying on one player for such a sweeping impact could backfire if injuries or adaptation issues arise. Yet the energy around the team is palpable, and social media has exploded with memes, speculative analyses, and passionate debates about whether Griffin will meet, exceed, or redefine expectations, leaving fans and pundits alike to wonder just how much of an immediate difference his presence will make in practice sessions, game day adjustments, and long-term defensive planning. The buzz surrounding Griffin's arrival is particularly intense when considering his reputation for being faster than virtually every defensive back and linebacker in the league, a trait that analysts are describing as game-breaking in hypothetical matchups against high-octane offenses, with whispers suggesting that opposing quarterbacks may already be reconsidering their reads and passing strategies even before the season begins, while betting markets, fantasy leagues, and online communities are feverishly speculating about potential interceptions, sacks, and turnover contributions, all framed within a context that Griffin's combination of speed, anticipation, and positional intelligence could allow him to effectively dominate wide receivers and tight ends alike, fundamentally altering game scripts and forcing rival teams to rethink their entire offensive game plan. Yet despite the excitement, some sports insiders are cautioning against overhyping the signing, noting that adaptation to Miami's system, communication with fellow defenders, and consistency over a full season will be critical tests of Griffin's capacity to live up to the enormous hype. While rumor mills continue to swirl with claims of clandestine training sessions, specialized conditioning programs, and behind-the-scenes strategies designed to maximize Griffin's explosive athleticism, fueling endless speculation about whether the Dolphins have finally found the missing piece to elevate their defensive unit into a championship contender, a narrative that continues to captivate fans, analysts, and social media personalities who are eager to witness the tangible results of this high-profile acquisition. There is also talk that Griffin's arrival is causing subtle shifts in Miami's defensive hierarchy, with longtime starters reportedly adjusting their positions, techniques, and communication patterns to accommodate his unique skill set, leading insiders to speculate that the Dolphins may be on the verge of unveiling an entirely new defensive scheme that could confuse opponents, particularly those accustomed to conventional formations, with murmurs suggesting that coaches are testing hybrid alignments, and situational packages in practice, all centered around Griffin's ability to read offenses in real time, anticipate plays, and exploit mismatches with surgical precision, while opponents are rumored to be scrambling to develop countermeasures, reviewing film obsessively to identify weaknesses in his coverage, speed, and timing. Yet fans remain optimistic that Griffin's impact will transcend statistics, bringing an intangible presence that energizes the stadium, motivates teammates, and changes the culture of the defense itself. And speculation is rampant that media outlets may already be exaggerating the defensive renaissance in Miami. Yet the momentum is undeniable, fueling endless discussions, podcasts, and YouTube analyses, with every highlight reel, training snippet, and locker room photo dissected for hidden hints about strategy, morale, and Griffin's integration, generating a whirlwind of conversation that suggests this signing is about more than football. It's a story of anticipation, hype, and a potential turning point in the franchise's trajectory, leaving everyone eager to see if the Dolphins have truly secured a generational defensive talent. Rumors also suggest that Griffin's presence may have a catalytic effect on Miami's draft strategy and future acquisitions, with insiders hinting that management could pivot their focus toward complementary players, building a defensive ecosystem that maximizes his strengths while mitigating weaknesses, including adding versatile linebackers, agile safeties, and adaptive cornerbacks, all designed to exploit Griffin's ability to dominate space, read plays, and pressure quarterbacks. While skeptics argue that constructing a system around a single player is inherently risky, raising questions about long-term sustainability, injury vulnerability, and chemistry with existing personnel. Yet the chatter remains overwhelmingly positive, amplified by reports of Griffin's work ethic, leadership qualities, and almost obsessive preparation routines, fueling speculation that his integration will be seamless and transformative, with analysts predicting that the Dolphins could emerge as a league-wide defensive benchmark if Griffin lives up to the hype, while the rumor mill also teases potential contract extensions, branding opportunities, and media appearances designed to solidify his image as a cornerstone of the franchise, generating continuous buzz across sports channels, social media, and fan communities, all while creating a sense of urgency among rival teams, which now must consider Griffin a defining factor in game planning, leading to a heightened atmosphere of anticipation and intrigue surrounding Miami's defensive prospects and Griffin's potential to dominate the NFL stage from day one. Fans have reportedly been flooding ticket outlets, forums, and social media with excitement, speculation, and sometimes wild predictions about Griffin's debut with the Dolphins, sparking conversations that extend far beyond traditional football circles, with memes, reaction videos, and fan-made highlight compilations circulating at a dizzying pace, creating an almost festival-like atmosphere around the team. While insiders suggest that locker room dynamics are also shifting as veterans and rookies alike adapt to Griffin's arrival, with whispers that some players are recalibrating their roles and responsibilities, hoping to synergize with his skill set, while coaching staff are rumored to be experimenting with innovative defensive packages to fully exploit his abilities, generating endless conjecture about how the first few games will play out, whether Griffin's presence will immediately translate to turnovers, pressures, and defensive dominance, and if the Dolphins will finally achieve the kind of consistency that has eluded them in past seasons. Yet despite the hype, critics caution that adapting to the rigors of Miami's defense, weather conditions, and the league's fast-paced offenses will be a true test of Griffin's durability, intelligence, and adaptability. While the rumor mill continues to churn with debates, insider claims, and speculative projections, leaving fans, analysts, and pundits in a constant state of anticipation and conversation, ready to witness what could either be the start of a defensive revolution in Miami or another cautionary tale in the NFL landscape. There are also whispers that Griffin's arrival could redefine rivalries and even alter the perception of Miami's defensive identity, with insiders hinting that teams in the AFC and beyond are now evaluating every offensive strategy through the lens of containing him, creating a cascade of strategic adjustments across the league. While rumors suggest that Griffin may serve as a central figure in team meetings, film sessions, and defensive planning, challenging coaches and teammates to elevate their performance and rethink conventional approaches. Yet skeptics continue to question whether relying so heavily on one individual could introduce vulnerability, particularly if injuries, fatigue, or miscommunication arise, while supporters argue that Griffin's multifaceted skill set, speed, and anticipation abilities could revolutionize defensive playbooks, forcing opponents into errors and creating opportunities for turnovers, generating a sense of anticipation, debate, and speculation that is fueling YouTube channels, podcasts, and sports commentary at an unprecedented scale, with fans dissecting every movement, stat line, and hypothetical matchup. While the overarching narrative suggests that Miami may be on the cusp of an era-defining defensive transformation led by Griffin, a player whose talent, ambition, and reputation for speed and dominance make him a tantalizing enigma, capable of altering the trajectory of the franchise and captivating the imagination of football enthusiasts everywhere, leaving everyone to ponder what the future holds once the season begins in earnest. Speculation surrounding Griffin's impact has only intensified as the Dolphins gear up for training camp, with insiders hinting that the team's defensive drills are now centered around his unique skill set, emphasizing speed, coverage versatility, and situational awareness, while whispers suggest that Griffin is already collaborating closely with linebackers and safeties, testing combinations that could lead to unprecedented formations, and observers are noting subtle changes in practice, intensity, communication, and alignment, fueling rumors that the Dolphins may be on the verge of unveiling a radical defensive approach designed to exploit Griffin's explosive capabilities. Yet questions linger about chemistry, consistency, and adaptability, as rival analysts point out that integrating a player of his caliber could inadvertently create gaps if coordination fails, while fans and social media channels remain electrified, dissecting every snippet, highlight, and insider tip to predict how Griffin will redefine Miami's defensive identity, from pre-snap adjustments to game-changing turnovers, with some even speculating that his presence could influence coaching decisions, roster moves, and long-term draft strategies, generating a cascade of rumors that suggest this acquisition is not merely a signing, but the beginning of a complete transformation, an evolution that might see the Dolphins emerge as one of the league's most feared defenses, capable of dominating both statistical charts and the psychological battlefield of the NFL, leaving pundits and supporters alike caught in a whirlwind of excitement, skepticism, and anticipation that only grows with each passing day. Rumors continue to swirl about the strategic implications of Griffin's arrival, with insiders suggesting that offensive coordinators across the league are already recalibrating their approaches to account for his presence, leading to speculation that rival teams may alter passing schemes, play-calling tendencies, and even personnel deployments, while debates rage on social media about how Griffin's combination of speed, anticipation, and instinctive playmaking might force quarterbacks to hesitate, receivers to second-guess routes, and running backs to adjust timing. And whispers suggest that Miami coaches are exploiting these perceptions, using Griffin's reputation to generate psychological pressure before the snap, while skeptics caution that relying on one player to create such domino effects is inherently risky. And there are murmurs that opponents are devising counter-strategies designed specifically to isolate Griffin, test his stamina, and exploit any potential vulnerabilities. Yet the fan base remains electrified, generating memes, highlight reels, and speculative analyses that amplify the narrative of Griffin as a transformative defensive force, with sports podcasts and YouTube channels dissecting every training session, locker room interaction, and preseason matchup for evidence that he can live up to the hype, creating an ecosystem of rumors, predictions, and excitement that positions him not just as a player, but as a symbol of Miami's defensive ambition, a potential game-changer whose impact may extend far beyond the statistics and into the very culture of the franchise, redefining expectations for both teammates and fans alike. Whispers from inside the Dolphins facility hint that Griffin is already influencing the team's mentality, with rumors suggesting that veteran players are adjusting their roles, rookies are striving to match his intensity, and coaching staff are revisiting defensive schemes to fully integrate his skill set, all while insiders speculate that this could mark the beginning of a cultural shift in Miami, where accountability, speed, and aggression dominate practice and game day preparation. Yet some Analysts remain cautious, warning that adapting a defense around a single player carries inherent risks, particularly in a league where injuries, fatigue, and inconsistencies can derail even the most carefully crafted plans, while fans continue to fuel speculation, creating highlight compilations, predictive analyses, and debates that often exaggerate Griffin's influence. Yet the underlying truth remains tantalizing. The Dolphins now possess a weapon capable of altering not just individual matchups, but the entire strategic landscape of the AFC, forcing teams to rethink passing lanes, offensive tempo, and game plans, and rumors suggest that this effect may extend into the media narrative, sponsorship opportunities, and broader league perception, with Griffin emerging as both a tactical linchpin and a symbol of Miami's defensive ambitions, captivating audiences, provoking analysis, and generating conversations that blend anticipation, excitement, and speculation in a continuous cycle that dominates football discourse well ahead of the official season kickoff. Insiders are also hinting that Griffin's influence may extend into Miami's roster decisions beyond the current season, with whispers suggesting that management is considering strategic acquisitions to complement his presence, including versatile defensive backs, adaptive linebackers, and situational pass rushers designed to create a cohesive, speed-oriented defensive unit. While some skeptics argue that building around a single star could backfire if injuries occur or adaptation fails, yet rumor mills persist with claims that Griffin's professionalism, leadership, and preparation make him an ideal linchpin for long-term planning, fueling speculation that the Dolphins may be entering a new phase where talent acquisition, coaching philosophy, and defensive culture revolve around his unique capabilities, with discussions online ranging from fantasy projections to hypothetical matchups that pit Griffin against elite quarterbacks, further amplifying the narrative of his potential dominance. While YouTube commentators and podcasters dissect every training snippet, interview, and press conference, suggesting that the franchise's ambitions may now hinge on his performance, and that Griffin could serve as both the catalyst and symbol of Miami's defensive renaissance, creating a story of anticipation, strategy, and rumor that captivates fans and analysts alike, ensuring that every game, highlight, and decision will be viewed through the prism of Griffin's influence and the questions surrounding whether he can truly live up to the hype in the unforgiving arena of professional football. There are also persistent rumors that Griffin's presence could dramatically alter rivalries within the AFC, with insiders suggesting that quarterbacks, receivers, and offensive coordinators are already adjusting their schemes in anticipation of facing him, while some analysts speculate that teams may shift game plans, personnel packages, and even draft strategies to counteract his speed, instincts, and coverage ability, generating a cascade of strategic speculation that extends beyond Miami, influencing the entire league, and fueling debates about whether Griffin's impact is more psychological than statistical. While social media platforms are flooded with projections, memes, and video compilations imagining how he could disrupt passing games, force turnovers, and energize his team, yet critics caution that overhyping his effect may create unrealistic expectations and pressure, while supporters argue that the combination of anticipation, athleticism, and football IQ he brings to Miami could redefine defensive play, creating a sense of inevitability around his presence on the field, generating a whirlwind of speculation, rumor, and analysis that dominates conversations across YouTube channels, sports podcasts, and fan communities, leaving everyone to wonder whether Griffin will become the defining defensive force of the Dolphins era, a player whose influence might be felt from preseason drills to playoff matchups, transforming not only the defense but the perception of Miami's ability to compete at the highest level. Still with us? Then show some love. Hit that like button and let us know in the comments. What's your take on the Fins this week? Rumors have also emerged suggesting that Griffin's arrival has energized the Dolphins fan base in unprecedented ways, with whispers that merchandise sales, ticket demand, and social media engagement have surged in anticipation of seeing him dominate on the field, while insiders speculate that this excitement could create an intangible advantage during home games, boosting morale and intimidating opponents. Yet some analysts remain skeptical, noting that fan enthusiasm does not guarantee on-field success, and there are murmurs that high expectations could create pressure for both Griffin and the coaching staff, while YouTube personalities, bloggers, and social media commentators continue to dissect every angle, sharing speculative analyses, hypothetical highlights, and strategic predictions about how Griffin might alter defensive performance, coverage schemes, and game outcomes, fueling a cycle of rumor, anticipation, and debate, with fans eagerly awaiting glimpses of his speed, decision-making, and game-changing instincts. While some insiders hint that even minor mistakes will be scrutinized, magnifying speculation, and the overall narrative frames Griffin as not only a talented defensive weapon, but a central figure in Miami's ongoing transformation, whose presence may dictate strategy, morale, and expectations, making him a constant topic of rumor, discussion, and analysis across multiple platforms, blending excitement, fear, and hope in equal measure. Speculation surrounding Griffin's immediate impact continues to dominate conversation, with insiders suggesting that Miami's defensive drills are increasingly tailored to his strengths, emphasizing coverage versatility, blitz timing, and anticipation, while whispers indicate that rival coaches are already recalibrating their offensive strategies to counteract his speed and instincts, fueling debates about whether Griffin's influence is sufficient to elevate the entire defense or merely highlight weaknesses elsewhere. Yet social media remains ablaze with predictions, highlight reels, and breakdowns that often exaggerate his capabilities, creating a sense of imminent transformation, while analysts caution that injuries, adaptation challenges, and strategic countermeasures could temper expectations, and rumors suggest that Griffin himself is aware of the pressure, reportedly working extra hours on film study, agility drills, and communication exercises to integrate seamlessly, generating continuous speculation about how this combination of skill, preparation, and hype will translate into tangible game day impact, while fans, pundits, and commentators eagerly await the opening games, imagining interceptions, pressure sacks, and game-changing plays that could redefine Miami's defensive identity, making every preseason report, social media post, and rumor a potential harbinger of what could become a legendary, or at least highly scrutinized, chapter in the Dolphins' history, driven by Griffin's anticipated dominance, speed, and football intelligence. Whispers continue to circulate that Griffin's influence could also extend beyond the defensive field, shaping the Dolphins' culture, locker room dynamics, and team identity, with insiders suggesting that his professionalism, work ethic, and leadership might inspire teammates, influence coaching decisions, and even affect training regimens, while rumors hint that these effects could alter Miami's approach to player development, draft strategy, and long-term planning. Yet some skeptics caution that integrating a single star too deeply into culture could backfire, while social media chatter continues to amplify every story, speculation, and insight about his presence, creating a continuous feedback loop of rumor, anticipation, and analysis, with fans dissecting each training session, locker room snippet, and press conference for evidence that Griffin is living up to expectations. And YouTube channels flood their feeds with commentary, breakdowns, and hype videos, further embedding him in the narrative of a defensive renaissance, generating conversations that blend performance, psychology, and spectacle, and leaving the football world captivated by the tantalizing question: can Griffin truly dominate the Dolphins' defense, redefine strategy, and live up to the monumental expectations that have arisen even before the season officially begins? Rumors surrounding Griffin have reached a fever pitch, with speculation extending into the realm of fantasy leagues, betting markets, and social media debates, as fans and analysts alike dissect every angle of his potential influence on Miami's defensive schemes, while insiders hint that the coaching staff is experimenting with nuanced strategies designed to leverage his speed, anticipation, and coverage intelligence. Yet questions remain about consistency, adaptation, and chemistry with teammates, fueling ongoing discussions across YouTube channels, podcasts, and fan forums, with each training session, press conference, and preseason matchup becoming fodder for analysis, projection, and rumor, while supporters envision game-changing interceptions, dominant coverage, and defensive chaos for opponents, and skeptics warn that overhyping his abilities could create unrealistic expectations, leaving Griffin in the dual role of player and symbol, a focal point of anticipation. excitement, and speculation, whose integration may determine not just the success of the Dolphins' defense, but the perception of the franchise in the larger NFL landscape, creating an ever-expanding narrative of rumor, hype, and potential that will captivate fans and analysts alike throughout the season. That's a wrap for today's dive. If you're loving the content, share it with a fellow Dolphins fan, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications so you never miss a splash. Fins up.